Today's episode comes with a plot twist. It's an interview done to me, Maria Browning, co-creator of the Aqua Zumba program, who has licensed over 80,000 Zumba instructors all over the world. Being a Zest for 19 years, Maria has been featured in 11 Zumba fitness videos and has also been in 3 fitness concerts. Maria started her life coaching business in 2014 called Happy Beyond Fit, with the mission of exploring fulfillment in life beyond fitness. In 2016, Maria created Fit Kizomba, a fitness program inspired in Kizomba dancing from Angola. In early 2024, she started her new mission with the Happy Beyond Fit podcast, through which she wants to expand consciousness by creating metacognition and self-awareness through allowing people to listen to different conversations with those who we admire in the Zumba fitness world. For today's episode, Maria invited her work husband, Tony Witt, who, along Maria, helped with the development of the Aqua Zumba program and worked together for several years. He knows her very well, and it was his idea to twist it up and turn today's episode into an interview on Maria's life. So guys, I wish I could say don't miss this episode, but this is a very vulnerable episode and I am not sure I want you to watch it. So I don't know what to say, but let me know what you think. Let me know what resonated with you. Don't forget to please subscribe to my YouTube channel or Spotify or Apple. Click on like, comment, share this episode so that you can continue to help me to grow this project of biographies of greatness. Thank you so much for showing up every week to listen to my episodes. And let's welcome Maria Browning's episode. Welcome to the Happy Beyond Fit podcast with Maria MJ Browning, dance fitness professional and education specialist, now on a mission to develop metacognition and self-awareness by releasing conversation with those who have achieved greatness. And this has been such a vulnerable week. You have no idea how much I've cried this week. So really? I am already tender. Like you touch it, you make it cry. So this is going to be very interesting. Tony, officially. My God, I can't believe you're here. I love you so much. My work husband. Welcome to the Happy Beyond Fit podcast.
Thank you.
This is so special. So special. I just want you to know how much I love you and how special it is to have you here.
I miss you more than you will ever know. It has been a little while, but I'm ready to share and dig a little deep and have some fun today.
Those are two adjectives that come attached to Tony Witt. Fun and deep. So those are the only things we can expect from today. Just very quick for everybody to know, Tony is one of the initial Zumba instructors in the world and one of the original Zeses that not only was a part of the initial 13 OGs.
The OG 13.
Exactly. But that was a key part in the development of the B1 training, helping Zumba to put it together with the manual and with just so everybody knows, I shall say this from the very beginning. The Zumba formula came from this brilliant mind. And many other brilliant things that we have used and that are a fundamental part of what we teach. The concept, the
soul,
the move, the soul of the program. Thank you.
Put it this way. I put structure to the soul early on.
Correct. In the most clever way. Brilliant. That like your brain works at another level. Those that know you, we know that's your gift.
Thank you. I'm a very high functioning ADHD. I call myself a procrastinator. I will put things off, but then when it's time to go, like my brain fires on like 1,000, like, okay, ideas. And then it all just comes together like a prepared.
It's almost like your brain does is like it's showtime for the brain, right?
It very much is.
Yes.
Yeah, you said that when we were at some AEA thing, and I was just creating choreography during this master class on the spot. Hey, dude, how do you remember the step? You're just making this up. How do you remember the steps you just did? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, just my brain is just firing, and just that's the way it works.
Yes.
So
It works very differently. So, yeah. So, very quickly, you became a Zumba instructor. Which year?
woo, the second ever training that Beto had in Miami.
Which was
2000,
2005?
2002, 2002.
2002?
Yeah.
Good.
23 years I've been doing this.
Wow. So, there were probably like what, 200 instructors in the world?
If that, like the first one, I can't remember how many, because Doug and I talked about that. Doug and Joan, because Doug and Joan were at the very first one, and he said there was like 80 people that went to the first one, and then I think that second one there was like maybe 140, something like that, at the, if I remember, the Deauville Hotel. I think that's what it was.
Uh-huh. Yes, they
Mhm.
use that hotel in Miami a lot. But you already had the dance studio because you owned a dance studio for many years. Did you have it already when you became an instructor?
No, we didn't have we had the dance company. We didn't have our first dance studio, actual physical building in 2005. We were teaching with uh just teaching at other studios, but we had our dance company.
Okay, so for everybody to know, this is fun. How did they used to teach the theory at a Zumba training? Because there wasn't a manual. It didn't exist. You helped put it together. So, like, how did they dump all of this information on you guys?
It was So it was a 2-day training, right? And we would start the day and end the day with an hour master class. And it was just, back in that day, it was just freestyle. Whatever came out of his brain came out of his brain, right? Maybe that's where I get it. But so you would teach a master class, and then somebody would translate. He would talk and just kind of explain how he came up with it, the history, and then we would just learn a bunch of steps.
There were not specific rhythms. There were just random steps for
Well,
random music.
it was mostly, merengue, salsa, cumbia. Reggaeton wasn't around really yet, and then we would throw in a samba now and then, depending on the training, you know, because the first 6 or 7 trainings, it was just whatever happened, whatever happened. So we'd
So
maybe
wait, wait,
teach a
wait.
samba.
Was it like Beto brought his playlist, and depending on his playlist, he would teach you guys the steps of the songs he was doing,
Sort of, yeah. Uh,
or
we
not even?
well, we wouldn't necessarily break down that choreography because a
There
lot of
was
it was
no
made up.
choreography.
It was made up, right? But we would learn some basics of merengue and salsa, and he did kind of explain the thought process of how he listened to music.
Which is
But
what you
yeah,
helped to put together in writing with Jessica,
yeah,
with
but the way
the
he first
scribbling.
would do it was just draw it like one long thing, um, and it wasn't like broken out. There was no. He was just like, "This is how I see the music," and
Oh,
so
so he would draw it on a whole line?
yeah, and just like if you were on a typewriter or whatever, wherever he was at the end of that line would start. It wasn't like what you do now of like, hey, this part's the chorus, this part's the like. It was one continuous stream of thought.
Who came up with the idea of let's organize this and let's put it line by line, different symbols? It was you.
Me.
Yeah. Okay. That's
And
what
then
I thought.
so
I just wanted to
yeah,
confirm.
yeah. We were at a Zest meeting because it wasn't until like that we all became Zest that we decided, or I came up with this idea of the Z equals MC squared. Like, hey, let's make this relatable or remember it somehow, and like you start with the music, and then like, and now in order for it to be in a manual or for people to learn it, it can't be just this random stream of consciousness or one like And again, putting some structure to the soul.
Put in the 3D so that we could see a physical thing.
Right.
Okay, so and then you go home after taking that training and dancing for 2 days in like all kinds of different ways. And how do you freaking teach a Zumba class? Because
So started day 2 of the training. Perlman came in with a whole bunch of CDs. It's like we burned a CD of the music Beto did yesterday, and hand out 140 CDs. Like, here's the music that we used yesterday. And then by the time we were done with day 2, there was another CD of like the first music that we used. So we just had a whole bunch of music.
yes, and how do you put steps together to the music?
You
In whatever way?
Yeah. You hopefully memorize some of the choreography. They did let us film the trainings back then, but most of us just filmed the masterclass portion.
But wait, they let every participant bring a camera and do it, but it was individual cameras.
And these were, like cassette tapes, big VHS tapes. And you would look in the back of the room, like the Deauville was like an arch shaped like a stadium. And the back of the room, it was just all lined up with cameras. And you had to get there super early to fight for a electrical plug.
Of course.
So we all filmed the master classes and then went home and like, all right, let's memorize this. But the dancers, I guess, kind of understood, all right, there's segments to this. We got to put some choreography together somehow. And
since you've been trained in ballroom since you were 15 years old, something like that. Yeah. Then of course you knew about how to interpret the music and how to dance. But like, imagine the people that didn't.
Right. And I'm sure it was just like when I first became a Zest. I'm sure the first couple of trainings were just, they had to be just his students, right? It was, and so they probably had the opportunity just to repeat songs they saw in his class or, things he did in his own class.
Okay, so in this training, there was no manual, no paper given with any information. When do they implement the manual?
Well, we had a little pamphlet that just talked about the history, but there was not really much after that. And it really wasn't until the manual came out, the official first manual came out when we taught our very first Zumba training.
That's what I thought. Yes.
Yeah.
That the first training with Zesses was taught, and that was the beginning draft of a manual.
So Eliza, she taught a training in California, and then we taught the very next one, or the next weekend. But when Eliza taught one, the manual wasn't completely finished yet. So the night before...
So Jessica and you put it together for yours.
Yeah, they emailed us the final manual the night before. And so we stayed up. We're printing things off. We're putting it in spiral notebooks. My kids were like hole punching and putting these manuals together for the next day's training. So we didn't have a manual until the second ever non-Beto Zumba training.
Who wrote the manual, the initial one?
Well, we kind of, some of us had some input, and then when Petra came on, Petra was there right before, because we picked the original 13 Zest, and then Petra met us all down there at the very first Zest meeting, and then she helped make some structure to all of it, because Petra's written many programs.
Specialty. Uh-huh.
Yeah, my mommy.
Yes. So for everybody to know, Petra Robinson, that's who we're referring to. She's our mom for all of us. And Jessica, which we also mentioned, is Tony's ex-wife. When this all started, you guys were dating, and you guys were the first couple that we saw getting married. We witnessed the whole process, getting married, getting pregnant, having 2 kids. traveling everywhere with the kids, getting divorced. The whole lifetime has
Y- y-
passed in front of
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Okay, so were there adjustments to the manual after the initial one, or it remained the same?
It remained the same for a while, and then I think it was like the second year they started to add some more things. Petra was adding some more science because we had already, like, the second year or year two after
Because
becoming a Zest,
I
I
remember
went
when
to
we started being lead Zesses, that's when we got together to write down, to come up with the names of the steps. So by then, we still didn't have a clear chart
right,
for the
right,
4 fundamental rhythms. We did it with the lead Zesses.
in that hotel room
Yes,
with who was Nicholas was in the other room, right? And
my son.
I think Jessica's brother was babysitting him in the other room. We're all sitting in this hotel room coming up with all these steps. So yeah, and Nicholas
With
was
Beto,
he,
Gina,
he,
Johnny Roberts, Tanya, Joey.
yeah.
Yes, there were not even enough chairs in that room.
Oh yeah, we were sitting in a circle.
Yes. Okay. And then later on, when Zumba started developing the Aqua Zumba program, you were very involved from the beginning. And that's why we call each other work husbands, because we ended up leaning on each other to put this program together. And then after Aqua Zumba, you were already in the process. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you were the one who came up with the idea of the Zumba Jammers.
Yes. Yes. I wrote a program called Zen Live where we just started to release the Zen volumes. And the idea was kind of similar to what Les Mills was doing, of like releasing the Zen. You'd go and you'd learn all the choreography live with the ZJs, or I call them, what do I call them? Zen choreography coaches, ZCCs. And then they would teach it to, they'd have little jam sessions or whatever and live sessions and teach the current instructors all the new choreography that came out.
You
So
were very ahead of the game, because the program, they put it together years later after you had started with the idea, right?
yeah, that was the template, we'll say, and then it developed later.
And then they decided that it was going to be because initially we were going to also be teaching. That was the idea, right? The
Right.
jam sessions. But then they decided to separate it, and it was that's when there were zesses and there were jammers, and they could not do both things. So that's why you ended up not being able to be involved. Let's say that that's the reason why. Yeah.
Sure.
It rhymes. Okay. So then Aqua Zumba. Because Maria Teresa Stone, who's now the leader of the Aqua Zumba program,
Yep.
asked me to put together a short video explaining the beginnings of Aqua Zumba. So this is perfect so that we can do it here very quickly. So what do you remember? How did Aqua Zumba start in your memory?
A couple of us pitched an idea of, hey, we should try this in the water. I think we had gold at the time, Zumba Gold. And then what else do we do? I'm like, why? Hey, I've been doing this in the water. Granted, it was a train wreck. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just, I grew up diving and not really swimming a lot, but I grew up in the water. I'm like, so I loved the water. I'm like, I'll do my dancing in the water, not really understanding aqua fitness. So then we started to pitch this idea, and you came along because of your extensive, aqua background. Then we all went to somebody's house or a hotel. We went to a pool, and
In February 2009.
was it?
Yes.
Yeah. And we're like, all right, let's start trying some things. And to this day, it's makes me cringe of some of the stuff I was doing, because, like, it was just stuff that I had tried in class, not knowing any better. I mean, I remember sitting on the side of the pool and kicking my legs out, like, hey, we're going to work our abs. And so
Who else was in this initial meeting in the pool? Let's see if we remember the same thing.
it was me, you, Beto, Joy, and
Elisa.
Elisa.
That's it. That's as much as I remember. So it's the same.
Yeah.
Do you remember anybody else? Because then
No.
we did another one when they brought Mimi.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was
Huh?
after we realized, hey,
Yeah, we have
we
no
need
idea
some
what
out.
to do.
Yeah. 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 Then brought Mimi on.
Huh? So Mimi was the expert brought from
Yep.
Italy, and she wrote the manual, and then she was supposed to work with us so that we could all brainstorm in the water with Beto and her to come up with something. But so what was the result of that meeting with Mimi in the pool? What do you remember?
Me, I remember, I don't want to say going off. I remember going, this does not feel like dancing at all. Like, cause she was teaching us, more traditional aqua fitness moves, the rocking horse and things. And I'm like, I don't feel the essence of dancing with this at all. Like, I don't see the translation from Zumba to this. I
Yes,
just
and we kept
feel like,
just waiting to see if something was going to happen, and then we will start feeling the Zumba flavor and
right.
flow, and it was just not happening. It was frustrating.
Yeah.
Beto was very frustrated that day.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like we just happen to have a salsa on and we're doing jumping jacks or, whatever. Like
Yes.
there was no dancing.
Yes, there was no dancing, and then Beto kept expressing his frustration, but then it was not computing in her brain because she did not come from the Zumba world.
Right.
She
Right.
came from she's an absolute expert, but because she was not in our community and a Zumba instructor, then it was hard for her to also to be able to give Beto what he needed.
And then we decided, was it at a convention that we taught our very first training?
Yes. No,
Yeah.
but we didn't. She taught it, and we were
Right.
on the
Right.
stage with her. Yes, yes.
Right.
That year.
Yeah.
But we went to AEA to Orlando first before
Yes.
Zumba
Yes.
convention. We were presenting in front of the experts at an aqua fitness conference.
Right.
How did that go?
A lot of a lot of fun energy, but we were way too fast.
Yes.
I mean, the good thing though about Mimi coming on board at first was, there was some realization of like, oh, we need to understand how we can adapt, our dancing to the water. 'Cause it was
That was
like
our aha moment. Can you imagine how Mimi must have felt? Because she had signed a contract to work to help Zumba to develop this
yeah,
program, but she's
right,
aqua fitness expert. And then
right,
she has to end up teaching these fast choreographies because we demanded that it needed to be more
right,
dancing. Can you imagine her cringe? Like she was representing, but then she had
right,
to dance in a way that did not go accordingly to the what? Oh my God, I can only imagine how she felt.
right. It probably me looking back at our original videos, probably the same way. Like, oh God,
Yes. And then we heard the feedback that everybody loved the energy, everybody loved that it was fun, that the music, and that there was a lot of potential, but that there were some songs that felt too fast. So it was great feedback.
it was very strange. The aqua world was instantly like accepting. I think we met Sylvie like that first year, and she was like so willing to like, hey, I love but let
By
me
the
help
way,
you guys.
Sylvia Senati is, for all of us, our aqua goddess. We all bow down to Sylvia Senati. She
Yeah,
is just at another level, at another, which is fantastic
yeah,
in aqua fitness. And she's from Italy. So that's who you're referring.
yeah. We met, them. We met Joao. We've met, I mean, a whole bunch of people in that first year that were
No,
really,
so wait, check this out. So I remember in that conference, we were sitting watching the other presenters teaching their classes after we taught our master class. And then we see Sylvia Senati in action. And they had already asked me to be the one on the video. So I was already like I had already memorized the choreographies, obviously, because we were teaching them at this master class, and those were going to be the same choreographies that I was going to be doing on the original video with Beto for the Aqua Zumba program. So then we're sitting there watching them, and I'm next to Beto, and we're all like jaw dropped, like look, watching Sylvia Zenati in action. And then he turns to me and tells me, just imagine we had chosen this woman to be the one on the video. And I was like, I am so sorry. You can still cancel my contract.
Right.
Just go
Right.
ask her if she can do it. Go
Right.
do it.
Like, I don't mind getting fired. She is.
Yes,
She's
I think
crazy.
he had second thoughts when he saw her. He was like, oh, wow, what have we done? We're
Right.
working with Zumba people, but she's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so after that, then what do you remember? Convention, Zumba convention. Because
Yeah.
you were not in the filming of the video. Then that was May 2009. June, I go to Florida to film the Aqua Zumba video for the training because the launch was going to be at Zumba convention. So then, what do you remember from Zumba convention?
Did we meet Richard the very first one?
Yes.
Did we find him?
He was in that
Yeah.
pool in that.
Yes. So first I remember like the training was, man, there was so much talking, and like it was like we were trying to explain, or she was explaining everything, and it was a lot of not moving, a lot of more theory, I guess. And that's,
more lecture.
we're not used to that.
She's a professor at a university in Italy. So yeah, she was giving more of a lecture type of class as a university.
Right. And we're like, Zumba people are like, hey, we got to move. My body will learn it, But then we were doing a drill, or maybe part of the land master class, and both of us, we look at each other and like, who is that guy? Who is that? That's exactly what we're trying to get to happen. And it was like I'm on stage, and it's like 3 rows back, a little to the right, is this cute little guy. I'm like,
Richard.
That's him. And then the King Richard was born.
Correct. Literally born. He was so young. He had all the potential, all the skills, and he was just so full of passion and excited about it. Yes.
It was crazy because he stood out. I don't know how many people were in that with that
like
training.
600 people were taking that training.
And like, oh, this guy comes from the aqua world, because it was like, oh, he's squatting properly. He's, stepping, he's pushing. He knows exactly how to move in the water. And like,
but you know what's so funny? That's not what he says. He thinks we told him. I know.
We helped him on his dancing. And then he had the aqua part, like, was like, dude. I mean, I distinctly remember looking at you in the eyes on stage, like,
yes,
like a band going, look at that girl, take her backstage. It was like, hey, look at that guy. We are sometimes.
So that second day of training at convention, that's when you and I took over, because pretty much the first day structure of the training did not work. So then we had to start from scratch. Okay, let's reorganize. I remember you and I talking at night and then putting it together. Okay, this is how we're going to start. This is going to be the order of the... So we started putting more sense into it. Thank God for your brilliant mind. And then after that, I was the only one the only ones that had been involved in the process that knew the choreographies that were Zesses were Elisa, you, and I. And then, of course, we invited other Zesses during the ZinCon release that we wanted them to become Aqua Zumba Zesses as well. So they were kind of watching, but they were not trained. So after that, I was the only one who had trainings scheduled right after convention. Every 2 weeks.
Hold on. We need to go back to what happened the second day of training at convention, where Mama Maria came out, and after lunch, and this happens at conventions, that people sign up for trainings and they
was not that year.
It wasn't?
That was the following year. That was the following year when I was already in charge. And Mama Maria was intense. But keep going.
So people would come and go throughout the training. I mean, you got 500-600 people. There's no way to
There was
take
no
attendance.
scanning system
Yeah.
to make sure that everybody will come back to the training after the lunch break.
Yeah. And after lunch, there was
Half of the people were there.
Yeah. And then people were leaving, coming back, and then you shut the door and was like, okay, that is it. If you are not in this room right now, you are not getting a certificate. Because if you're not here for the training, and like everybody was like, yeah, applauding. And we're
Yes,
like,
and the other 300 that stayed out were hating it. I thought I was going to get fired that day.
Right. But I mean, but for the integrity of it.
Customer service had to come. Alberto Perman had to come. Everybody's like, what's going on, Maria? And I was so pissed that people were not taking the program seriously.
Right.
And then I ended up breaking in tears on the station, like, you don't understand how hard we've been working for this.
Well, this was your second coming with Aqua, though. That's why.
Yes.
So
it was my baby. I needed to make sure everybody was going to represent it well. It requires a lot of training because we're not dancing. We're modifying the dancing moves and faking the dance. And I was like, no, this is not a joke. You don't know how to do this. It has taken me a year to learn how to do this.
But we were all like, yes, Maria. Yes, okay.
Yes. You guys were like, what is she doing? Yeah, no, I was receiving threats. Some people were like, I'm the owner of these so and so companies. I'm an investor in in Zumba. I'm going to get you fired. No, people were hating me. And I did not give them the certificate.
Right.
Indeed, I didn't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there were like, if we had 500 people, yes, high five. 200 of them did not receive. And I made everybody sign, give me their names on a paper to show proof of the ones that were present. Oh, my God. Yeah. Those were the days. Okay, no. So after that, after the initial convention, then we went to teach. I was teaching every 2 weeks at a different Aqua Zumba training. So because 2 months, 3 months later, I had already come up with more experience. I'd seen what works, what doesn't work during the training. So I finished molding the training because I taught several trainings until we had that ZES meeting in North Carolina. Remember? Okay, so there was a special meeting, ZES meeting we were having for people to get trained in Aqua Zumba and in Zumba toning, because Zumba toning and Aqua Zumba were launched at the same time. Yeah. And you were supposed to be there, obviously, but you couldn't make it because the mother of your first child passed away. Yes. So then you ended up not being able to go to that meeting. And that's when the decision was made that since there were different specialties, that each specialty needed a leader because we were already starting to go insane. So that's when it was decided that Johnny Roberts was going to be the leader for toning, obviously Joy for gold, and Josie. And then obviously Gina Grant for Zumba Kids. And then the discrepancy was Aqua, because you were very involved in Aqua, but you were very involved in B1 and B2. So Tanya Beersley was not nominated to be the leader for one program, but she was honest and she was like, I cannot handle it on my own. I need some backup. And then since you helped put the manual together and all these things, so you ended up being the lead says of B1 and B2, right? Yes. Along with Tanya Beersley. Yes. And then that's why then Aqua landed on me. Otherwise, I think it would have been maybe you for Aqua. No, don't act. You were. There's no way. Like I wasn't there and got it. Like didn't get to cast my vote. There's no way. It was never going to be you. Like this is. Or maybe it would have been the two of us. Anyway. Been, yeah. We acted as if you took on more responsibility because you continued to work with me as much as me. So you were kind of like the leader of 3 programs because, you never left me alone. Thank you so much. Never. My work wife. Which I needed it
Yeah.
immensely because I was going through very hard times in my personal life, being heartbroken and crying a lot. Wow, yeah, what a roller coaster. So thank God you were there with me. Like I remember there were days at Zumba conventions that I would just show up with my eyes swollen because I had been crying all night because of my issues with my partner. And then you wouldn't even ask me anything. You would just see my face and you're like, don't worry, I got you. It's going to be fantastic. And then you will just entertain me the whole day. And with your energy, we would just feed off each other. And then it will give me strength back to continue to go.
So let's flip the script here. Let's do something that has never happened on your podcast before.
Such as? Are you going to do striptease? Let's do it.
No, although I kind of did.
What is that?
That's my Kansas City Dancing with the Stars trophy that I was half naked for that performance, but I'm not going to do it.
Is it the one that I saw on social media or the one you're in red?
Yeah. The see-through. Yeah.
You were half naked because it was see-through, but not because you were half naked.
Yeah.
Because that was amazing to watch, dude. That was so beautiful.
Thank you. So you have all these amazing people that come on, and half the people watching this, I've been out of the Zumba name for several years. They have no idea who I am.
When did you stop being as this?
The
was it 20s? Okay,
2019. So, but there is one reoccurring face that they see every single podcast, which is you.
The host.
And you have publicly said some things or talked about your journey and, your history. But this is kind of a perfect timing I believe, to finish your healing.
As far as which area are we going to touch on?
Yes, all of it.
Oh, okay.
We're going to talk about, I'm going to interview you and find out the real Maria Browning. Not just I was a synchronized swimmer, I was part of Zumba, like what really motivates you and what you were masking sometimes throughout the years.
Okay.
What were you trying to push aside? What were you trying to hide from? And we talked a little bit about this throughout the years and you just kind of mentioned former relationships. But we're going to touch on everything from avocados to Zumba.
Okay, let's do it. Let me drink water, okay? So you actually prepare questions?
I have.
You don't need it. Your brilliant brain works. It's on fire?
It's on fire. Fuego! Okay, so we all know that you were a synchronized swimmer back in Colombia, but before that, we're just going to start off. Tell me about your father.
We're going straight there. Okay, my parents got divorced when I was 8 years old, and then my dad moved to the United States in the pursuit of the dream, the American dream. And of course, because he entered the United States initially without papers, he was not legal for many years. So I did not see him again. So I grew up without him. And it was I believe it has been the biggest childhood trauma that I've had to work to overcome throughout my life. The fact that he was my everything, he was my love, and then he abandoned us, pretty much.
How did he explain it, that he was
leaving? He never did. I think explanations are given by adults, so my mom, I am sure, tried to explain it in a way that sounded nice. Regardless, I don't even remember what the explanation was. I just knew that he was gone, he was in another country, and he couldn't come back. That's it.
You get a bye?
No, he disappeared all of a sudden, and nobody knew where he was until he showed up 2 months later. So for 2 months, we were like wondering, why is he not showing up? Because I used to
Wow.
go, they got divorced, and for the first few months, I will spend every weekend with him. My sister was older. I was 8. She was almost 12, and she didn't want to spend any time with him. She was done. But I was like looking forward to my weekends with my dad. So yeah, all of a sudden he disappeared. So yes, I do seek my father in every single one of my relationships.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So why did your mother ever, she didn't remarry, right?
She didn't.
How did you get into swimming then? Like what was the fascination, or what were you?
My mom needed to keep me busy because I was a very curious child. So when they first, and maybe they got divorced when I was 7. I don't know. When they first got divorced and we moved out, I moved on into a building apartment complex, and there were a lot of kids there. So for the first time, I had friends, and I was exploring life every
Wait,
day and
you
getting
didn't.
in trouble.
Where were you before that?
We were in a house that was like located right in front of a main avenue, and my parents were running a school on the second 2 stories of the house. With the first floor was our house, and then they were just busy working there, but there was like no engagement with anyone
The community?
outside. Yes, there was, nothing like that. Just me and my sister. But then once we moved into this other place, and there were a lot of kids. And somehow I didn't understand why. They always wanted to do what I wanted to do. So if I wanted to go explore here, if I wanted to climb
You
trees,
were
they
a
would all
leader.
go.
At 8 years old, you were the leader.
Yes. But I didn't understand why. I was like, I wouldn't even invite them. I would be just doing my thing, and then all of a sudden turn around, and all these kids are like following me doing what I am doing. So I'm like, okay, come along. But yes, I was very curious. So I wanted to climb up to the roof, which no kids were allowed there. There was no security, and then climb over walls and go into the other buildings on the roofs of the other buildings. Yes, I know. And then I wanted to break into empty apartments when they were like, nobody was living there. So I was like removing the the glass from the windows, and then
Right.
getting there with all the kids so that we could play inside. And I just liked exploring. I've always been very curious. I remember those years. It was just like few months. I don't think it was years, because there were so many complaints about my activities from the management of the building to my mom. And my mom did not have time to worry about these things because she was already a single mom. She was working a lot. She needed us to not cause any trouble. My oldest sister was already, she was never really a rebel or a bad, like the black sheep, but she was not doing what my mom would want her to do. So just for that, my mom was already like, this is too much to handle. So I was trained not to give her any worries because she
Right.
could not
Right.
handle all of that. So then she enrolled me in the synchronized swimming practices, and then she taught me, because she couldn't take me to practice because she was working all day. So she taught me to where to go to take the bus to the public station.
And you
I
were
had to
8, 9 years old?
Yes, every day
Yeah.
I had to go get the bus, and I had to walk for like 20 minutes to get to the station, to then take the bus, to then go there, and then come back at night, taking the bus at night as well, which I got robbed many times, and creepy guys
So
chasing me.
oof, and that hasn't changed. You're your age now, and you got creepy guys chasing you still. So did you, like, as you're talking about moving and being around all these kids, like, again, your energy changed. Did you seek, or did you find, like, this was something new? Like, you're belonging to this little group of kids. Like, you didn't have that at home. It was just your family, and all of a sudden you have a little tribe running around.
Yes,
It's a very different atmosphere.
yes. And mainly it just felt so much fun. That's all I wanted to do, just to be hanging out with them and just exploring life.
Did you get that same feeling as in synchro?
No, not at
or
all.
was it
Because
it was a competitive thing?
I just wanted to be at home, play with my friends, and getting in trouble. That's all I wanted. But so then she puts me in synchronized swimming, and then I didn't want synchronized swimming. She took me to the pool complex, and we were staring at the pools, and there's the diving synchronized swimming pool, and then the swimming and water polo. And then she's like, no, we're not going to go for swimming or water polo. Choose, like, how about synchronized swimming? And I'm like, no, let's do diving. Of course, I'm adventurous.
Right.
I'm like, I want that. The kids were
Yeah, that's what I
diving.
did.
I'm like, exactly. And she's like, no, that's too dangerous. We need something safer. How about these? Look at the girls. They look so beautiful. I remember her trying so hard to sell it to me. And I was still like, no, I want to dive in. And she's like, well, no, mi amor, I'm sorry. We're going to do synchronized swimming. And then she enrolled me. I didn't know, not even that I was going to have to go every day to practice. I think I did. Obviously, I didn't think of that. But then it was like, okay, and this is what you're going to do every day when you come back from school. You go take the bus and you go here. And I was just like, obviously trying to make her happy. But then I very shortly had the first competition, like maybe 5 months into this practice. I still didn't understand what was going on. And now there was makeup and fancy bathing suits and
Right.
shiny stuff going on. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then I win. That was the first time that it hits me. I'm like, wait, what? I'm actually good at this? And like,
Right.
and everybody was like clapping. Everybody was so proud of me. Like everybody's demeanor changed towards me.
How many people were on your first little team?
We traveled to another city. So there were, I don't know how many kids, because there's different categories, but there's people, it's like a national
But I
championship.
mean, in your little group
In
there.
my
Yeah.
little group, we were
I say
probably
little. I have no idea.
30. Yes.
Yeah, not little.
Yes.
So
We were probably 30 kids, yeah.
And where was this at? In Bogota? Where was it?
In Medellin,
Okay.
my first
So
competition.
is that like, so I have, I've got my young kids that are in so many freaking sports and activities and dance and ice skating. I don't know where the hell you would go for synchronized swimming. Like that's not a thing for in the center of the US, Kansas City. Like is that big in Colombia, or like, I mean, or
Okay,
is it just like
so
an
in some cities, the synchronized swimming is big, but not all the cities. But my city and my department, I will represent like the state. We call it departments, the state, Valle del Cauca. And Medellin, which is Antioquia as a state, were the rivals, like the strongest one in the country. We were always fighting for gold. So that's why when I win this competition, it was like, and a new star has risen. Because it's like, yes, we're going to use her to continue to win gold over the ones in the other main state. But there's not many states that compete in synchronized swimming. I don't know, let's say maybe in every competition there are like maybe 10, 12. I've never even thought about it. Something
So
like
was
that,
this
yes.
that first, you got the first win? Was this like the first, how to say this? Hey, Maria, you did a great job. I'm proud of you. Like,
Yes, exactly. That's when I realized, because I've been causing stress to my mom. Therefore, getting into synchronized swimming felt like kind of like a little bit like a punishment, because now I cannot play anymore. But I understood that it was not fair that I would add more worries to my mom. So I was just like going with the flow. But I didn't feel like my mom was happy. She was just like content. At least I was not giving her any trouble. But then I win. And then my mom, because of course now all the coaches are like, clearly people treat you differently when they see your potential.
right.
So then I became her pride. And just to hear her talking with all her friends about me and about me winning competitions. So it fed me into, now I want to do this. Now it feels very cool to make my mom proud. So I'll continue to do it so that she's proud, and she's proud because she sees that everybody's proud, everybody's impressed. So then it makes her feel even more proud. So, okay, I'll continue to make my mom proud.
So who did you date first when you got older in the synchronized swimming world?
I would always be dating the guys from the Colombian team in water polo or in swimming. So
Because
my
you would just
boyfriends,
see them all the time.
of course, they were just like in my environment. But like, for example, in my school, I would never feel attracted to any of the kids in my school, not even like the ones that were older than me that were like trying to hit on me. Like I never dated anyone in school because I was like, of course, you have athletes.
Right.
You feel attracted to them. It felt to me like I spent more time at the pool than in school. That was my life. Like I would train at 4 in the morning from 4 to 7 a.m. Then quickly rinse, get on the bus to go to school. And then at 3 p.m. coming back to train until 9 p.m. So my whole life was in the pool.
Right. Yeah. You felt like that your life was synchronized swimming, but school was something you had to do.
And this is the other thing. I became the pride of the school as well. Because, schools compete against other schools, but I was at a higher level. I was on television. I was on the news every time I went out of the country to represent.
Oh, you were already
Yes.
superstar.
Yeah, correct. So I didn't have the need to be the popular in school. I was never in the group of popular as per se in that category, how they act and because they're this and that. But everybody knew me because I was the only one that was a part of the Colombian team. So because of that, my teachers were very understanding when I showed up to school and I was like falling asleep during class. And they were the ones who would be like, okay, go to the cafeteria, go have breakfast, and then I come back. Like they will give me a lot of
Grace.
breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, or if I wouldn't do well on a test, they will allow me to retake the test the next day with the same questions, the same test.
I was out of the country, competing. I didn't have how to study.
I did not have time to do homework. They knew I didn't have time to do homework. So obviously, for me, it was amazing. I was getting away with so much. I never did well in school. I also have ADD or ADHD or whatever. I'm neurodivergent because I was daydreaming the whole time. I just couldn't concentrate. So I never did well in school. And the teachers were always helping me to pass. And it's because everybody knew. Everybody, I guess, attributed it because I was always training. So poor thing, she's always tired. We're going to help her out so that she can represent us on the next championship.
Yeah, but
so I got away with a lot, but at the same time, well.
But there was your first hustle, like the Maria brain of like, wait, I found a shortcut.
Oh, yes, 100%.
I found
and with my mom,
easier.
With my mom as well. Like my sister was never allowed to skip school. Me, I will wake up one day or after training in the morning, I will call my mom and say, Mom, I'm not feeling well. I have a migraine. I have my period. I'm cramping. Can I please stay? And she will be like, yes, baby, go home and rest. I got away with a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. The hustle brain starts.
But apparently that's how important it is for adults that you show up as a winner, I guess. So I was like, oh, so everybody wants me to continue to win, to be successful, and they're willing to let me do anything just to get there. Okay. I guess it's that important. So that's how I see it, that it trained my mind to, it's very important for people that I show up on the podium.
Now, were there times that you guys didn't win, or did you guys go through like for 6 months we weren't doing well? Like
Yeah. No, not only that. As the team from the state, from Valle del Cauca, we will usually win. I mean, at least my category, we will represent and we will win. So we were always national champions. Then internationally, that was a different story because now you're competing with other countries. So obviously, we did not always win. We were always in the first three, at least bronze or silver medal, and a lot of times gold. But yes, we were like fighting it very hard, and we were trained like to lose to accept that. But the hardest one was when you have to do the trials to make it to the team, to the national team. And then you have to compete individually. And then based on your score, you can make it as a soloist or as the duet or as the team, which is 8 girls where it used to be 8. And then not making it because there was, depending on the age, 1 year, I was like number 1 or 2. I was on the top because I was the oldest with my best friend. But then the other year, we will be the little ones. And there were many others that were very good. So we were just like fighting to make it to the team. And 1 year, I did not make it. We did not see that coming. It was a shock. Yeah, it was not, the trainers did not expect it. And we were going to go to Cuba on a championship and I did not make it and I was devastated. I cried. So I still remember how horrible it felt.
Were you treated different when you didn't make it? You weren't the winner anymore.
No, you know what happened? I was just in shock. I went home and I cried the whole day. I was just like crawling in my bed, crying and crying and crying. And then at night, my mom wakes me up and she's like, guess what? My trainers called a meeting with the federation to make an exception because they proved that they said it's clearly a mistake. It's impossible that she did not make it. And they changed it for the, I don't remember ever hearing this again. They allowed me to go. And actually my ranking in Cuba at the competition was what was expected from me, that I was going to be either on number 4, number 5 within my team. So it was worth it. Good that they took me, but they made an exception. So I think it was the biggest wow gift from that situation was to see that people were so willing to help me, to fight for me. It was wow.
So now again, it's like part of your hustle, which we'll get into later, is it's never over. There's like somebody could tell you no. Well, maybe not.
There's always a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Always a way. That is crazy. When did you stop competing?
I stopped competing at 21 or 22 because I became a Christian and I was very in love with Jesus and devoted to it for a few years. Became a leader at the church and it changed me a lot. And then there was a championship to go compete in Brazil. But at the same time, there was a big, how do you call these? I don't know, Christian trips for youth that they put together, like a conference, like a Zumba convention, but
Right.
for Christian young people. And it was in Costa Rica. And I chose Costa Rica. Today, I was telling my sister this. I had never said it. I think it's the only thing I regret in my life, that I chose not to go to Brazil, but to go to Costa Rica. I think I was 19 or back then. And then because of that, I thought that I was, in my head, I was just going to skip one championship and then come back right in to continue to go with the others. It was just a scheduling issue. And I put God first. And because of that, I pretty much was never able to come back in. Because
they didn't look at it as,
because
like,
that team,
you abandoned us.
No, it was a coincidence. That team, as soon as we came back, we will usually have months to train for another competition. But then there were many competitions and shows that now we were getting paid to do in different cities that were happening all at once. And then they just stayed with that team because they had it so strong and they had that, they won the gold in Brazil. So then they were going with only this team everywhere. And then there was no way to get back in. It was so shocking. It was like, wait, what?
How did that make you feel? Like back that then, quick, they're like, we don't need you anymore.
Back then I was like, I have God. Nothing matters. But now when I look at it, that's when I got married. I got married at 19. That's why I said I think I was 19. Because I don't know. When you're busy with a discipline, you don't have time to make silly decisions. But when you have time in your hands.
Right.
Yep. And that's when I decided to get married.
Okay. So let's move into that. You got married. When did you have Nicholas?
I'm not talking about that marriage. That was the second marriage.
Oh, shit. What?
This is the first marriage.
I did not know that. Did I know that?
I am very happy to announce big changes in the Happy Beyond Fit podcast. From now on, for those of you that are simply curious about the trajectory of the successful guests, you will continue to have free access to 45 minutes of conversation with each of our guests. But if you want to continue to dig deeper, which we all know, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that the second half of every episode is where things get deep. So if you are a deep thinker like me and you enjoy questioning yourself through these conversations, you are the one who is going to benefit from having access to the second half of each episode through the premium membership. So you see it now available underneath the screen. You simply click on join. And by enrolling in the sponsoring program, you will be able to access not only the full episodes, but also early release of episodes, also extra videos that are all only going to be released for the sponsors. When you sponsor this podcast, what you're doing is helping me to grow in quality, to grow in content, because I will be able to have somebody to help me to be able to release episodes faster, to record the episodes, and to make the whole process much easier. As you guys know, I've been doing this on my own for a year and a half, providing all of these amazing episodes and value, but it's been very hard to make a fit in my schedule. But things change when you have sponsors, because then you can grow and you can improve in all kinds of areas. So you're going to benefit and I am going to benefit. Thank you so much for those who are going to be able to join the membership to continue to receive the extra perks. But for those of you that cannot join the membership, I don't want you to feel bad. You will still continue to receive 45 minutes worth of free content. So you will continue to receive that first part of the Biographies of Greatness, which is pretty much the trajectory into how each person has become who they are now. And then for the deep thinkers and for the soul seekers, we have extra options for you to be able to engage in conversation with me, to get into lives together, and so that we can explore all the things that we are learning from each episode and take our emotional awareness to the next level, because that is the real reason why I am doing this mission, so that I can develop awareness myself and I can become the observer of my own opinions, my own judgments in life. And before I react to something with an opinion, I ask myself, which will be my own answer, and why am I having this kind of opinion towards the things that I am listening to? And in this way, I develop metacognition, which is a person's ability to be able to hear themselves and to see themselves and their reactions before reacting. And that gives you so much understanding of life, of yourself, of your own reactions, your own triggers, and allows you the opportunity to create more light. Because when we don't react to things, we are creating more energy and more light within us and around us. And that is the real reason why I'm doing these projects. So for those of you that want to take it to that level and be able to communicate with me in a more intimate setting, then I can't wait to meet you on our membership site and for you to enjoy all of the different perks that are going to come with being a sponsor of this Happy Beyond Fit podcast. This is new to me. I just received the news and set up the membership. So I am exploring all of these as well as you, but I am excited to bring you extra exclusive stuff that only my sponsors are going to be able to receive the value and benefit from. So thank you so much, guys, for your support, for subscribing to my channel, for helping me to grow this, and for riding along this sacred trajectory of life that I have chosen since a year and a half ago. It is my honor to have you listening to these conversations and to have you as my sponsor. Thank you so much, and see you on the other side.
Did I know